Before I get going, I'll make a brief comment about, you saw the effect of the crowd today. We all of a sudden had them backed up, a couple false starts. So everyone that was there, unbelievable job. Kudos to the fans that showed up today. So at this time, I'm just going to open it up to questions right away.
The effect of your defense and what they were able to do to keep them off the scoreboard.
I thought Coach Braun and defensive staff may have done their best job all year. You talk about a running back that has made a lot of teams look bad over the course of his career. And not that we looked great at all the times, but I thought Dave kept changing up the surface. He'd bring pressure from the tight end. He would jump into double eagle front, and I don't think they had an answer for it. You saw a couple big plays, TFLs out of it. And so I think just keeping that young quarterback guessing, he's trying to check the run game. And I thought then, you saw us do a good job of tackling for the most part. Of course, there's always plays that you wish you could have back, but really pleased with how they played. And then, to be +1 on turnovers through the day is big time.
A team that's been really aggressive with turnovers and the Redbirds able to protect the ball. I know you probably wanted more out of your offense today, but they were able to protect the ball.
Of course, having 0 turnovers is same thing. It's going to be the same emphasis as always. I don't think anything needs to necessarily change. We just need to do better in the red zone and convert on third down. And those are 2 critical situations during the course of the game that we put a ton of time into practice. We'll continue to do it. We got to come up with great plans, making sure that our players can execute.
What did Illinois State do anything to really? That's the first time all year your offense hasn't been able to move the ball.
Well, as I said before, they just brought 4 to a side, and we're bringing, corner safety. They were bringing outside backer safety and cutting it real and just bending real fast, letting the backside blitzer run everything down. We tried to run into it. We tried to run away from it. It was just one of those days where I thought we had a good plan going into it. We didn't anticipate it being 90% of the game plan that of their calls. We knew they'd shown it, just not at that ratio.
How big was your special teams in this game?
I thought it was really big. We saw some big, good returns, solid returns. And the number one thing that we, again, always talk to Trevor about when he's back there or any of our kickoff return guys is it's all about the football. Trevor, I don't care if you don't have any yards returning as long as we have the ball at the end of that snap on punt return.
Trey was under center in the I formation a lot today, and that's more than a long time it seems that you guys have done that. And that's part of what you want to do, some of that, but not as much of that as you did?
I think that was part of the game plan, is just getting under center and trying to, we thought they'd be in their odd front, cover 4 a little bit more than what they were. And so, again, I can't take anything away from Coach Spack and his staff. They did a great job of preparing for the Bison today.
Five-man front, is that similar to what you guys do on goal line, or is that something pretty new that got put out?
We've shown it occasionally, not very often, but we've jumped into it onto the goal line a little bit, but it's more of the middle of the field when teams want to get into big personnel. We just hadn't done it to 12 personnel before. We hadn't done it maybe to some other personnel groupings. So it was a great change-up and curveball, and you could see the quarterback not really sure where he wanted to check the game or the run game, because I'm sure they were looking for where's the 3 and where's the nose. And all of a sudden now there's 2 3s out there, and it probably cost them a little bit at times.
Much of this game is your guys' the effect of playing a Missouri Valley football team for the second time.
Oh, I'm sure there's some of it. Yeah, both teams are very familiar with one another. We've played each other, consistently over the years, and it's two teams that pride themselves on playing really good defense. You probably don't see very often at this point in the playoffs 2 coaches that are both defensive minded, and it's good to see.
How do you work on establishing a good offensive rhythm going forward?
Just keep doing what we do. I think our method of practice is proven over time. Is it 9 years now we've been in the semifinals? So I don't think I'm going to try to reinvent anything. That'd be a foolish thing, I believe. I'm smarter than that.
4 teams left, all won with defense this weekend. What's that say about the playoffs this time of year?
Defense wins a lot of football games. We need to continue to get better. Guys, our offensive guys, they'll be ready to go next week. They were excited about the win, but they'll be ready to go. I have 100% belief in Tyler Roll and his staff. We're okay.
very few plays run to the outside, a lot of stuff up the middle. Was that again part of the
Well,
game?
again, you saw a lot of pressure off the edge. Then towards the end of the game, they were just bringing cover zero pressure because they were trying to create a takeaway, get some tackles for loss when the game was getting in a situation where they needed to have a stop.
Sir, Christian Watson had 0 receptions last week. He comes up with 7. He gets the big one to get 3 points early, and then forces a pass interference. What do you think about Christian's play today?
I thought he played really well. I mean, he's one of the, I think, best receivers that we've seen. We see him on a daily basis. He's got great speed, got great hands, can break tackles. He's a special player. He needs to continue to develop. We need other guys to continue to develop. It can't just be Christian Watson. But pleased with how he and his leadership continues. He's a young kid still, but he's got great leadership in that wide receiver room.
Did Phoenix take up his shoulder again?
From as far as I know, yeah, same shoulder. Just a precautionary deal. Anticipate him playing next week.
Rosa did not play last week, and he was huge today with the 3 field goals.
He was good for him. He earned the job back this week. We had an open competition with our place kickers. He did a nice job, and for him to come in and bang 3 big ones for us was good and big for his confidence and good for the team's confidence in Griffin as well.
Was Reinhold's part of that competition this year?
He was not. I don't anticipate Jake being back at all this year.
What do you tell Trey after a game like that?
Great job. Congrats on the win. Let's keep winning.
Second half, though, it seems that's when your offense really kind of gets stuff going. Second half today, I think you had like 60, less than 60. What was the difference today as opposed to other games or themes? The second half of your offense gets more in a row.
Say that one more time.
Second half, though, you had like 60 yards.
Yep.
Normally, the second half.
I just think they just committed to bringing 5 to 6 every snap, and they had a plan, and we just didn't do a great job of probably getting it to the receivers like we'd like to. And we're gonna learn from this game and move on.
Matt, Tony Pierce with a big play at the end. Describe his play ascending through the entire season. He's got more and more reps all year.
And isn't it exciting to see a young guy who's a redshirt freshman? I shouldn't even call him a redshirt freshman. He's a sophomore by now. We're 14 games in, but that's kudos to Coach Williams. Buddha does an unbelievable job with our defensive ends, and the only thing I joked with Tony, he's got to learn how to celebrate a little bit better. He kind of loses his mind out there. We got to get lined up and ready to go for the next snap.
You brought up earlier about 9 semifinal trips in a row. I mean, what does that mean, or being a part of that? How do people take that for granted, or don't realize?
No, not at all. There wasn't one kid in that locker room that took anything for granted today. When you win a football game 9-3, you appreciate it. The thing we continually talk about, and I'll get back to your question, is all 3 phases of this football team have to rely on one another to win. We can't just be the offense one day, can't be special teams, can't be defense. We all have to rely on each other. And this day, we had to rely on the defense just a little bit more, but there's going to be times that the offense is going to get the defense out of a jam, and that's just the way we do it here. 9 times in the playoffs, I think it says a lot about the way we do things. I think it says a lot about, I know sometimes it's an overused word in society today, but the culture. I think we have a unique culture here. We have a huge buy-in from everybody. We have an unbelievable administration. We have unbelievable coaches. We have unbelievable faculty and unbelievable fans. I can't forget about them. So by no means is anyone looking past this semifinal opportunity. We're excited to be there. The last thing I told the team as we left is, we always talk about finish in this program. I told them, let's finish the calendar year. We'll worry about 2020 when it gets here. Let's finish this calendar year. We got one more game in 2019, and we're going to finish it. We're going to make sure that we're ready to go.
Any injuries today besides Phoenix?
Not that I know of.
See you at Montana State again. You saw him last year in the postseason. Early thoughts on the Bobcats?
Haven't looked at him at all. Didn't watch him last night at all. I worked that's not healthy for me to be watching too much football the night before, especially of a potential opponent.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, guys. Thanks.
We have Christian Watson, Trey Lance, James Hendricks, and Jackson Hankey. Go ahead with your questions to the student athletes.
Trey, what's the best way to describe how the offense played today?
We played really hard. I think we really did. Obviously didn't execute, to our potential, I think, at some points, but it was a really good defense. I think they had a really good game plan against us, being the second time we played them. Some things just didn't go our way. I feel like it's just kind of one of those days, but, we're going to be ready to go next week. Learned a lot from it.
Trey, along those lines, what made it difficult to get things in a groove offensively?
They're a really good team. I think they played really hard defensively up front. In the secondary, I think they had a good plan. Obviously, we had a similar game plan that we did against them, the first time because, everything worked worked well. So I think they were ready for a lot of stuff that we threw at them. But, it's a really good team. Obviously, I didn't execute. I think I can be better, need to be better for next week. But, yeah, I got to give them a lot of credit. They're a really good team.
How do you work on establishing that offensive rhythm better for going forward?
Same stuff we have been the whole year. I mean, this is week 14 or whatever it is. We've been doing fine, so I don't think anyone's too worried about it. We're going to be all right.
Jackson, is that one about as physical as you played?
For sure. Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun. 25 is definitely a very, very talented football player, one of the best we've played this year. And the fact that, they had to be 90% running the football today. There was no secret to their game plan. We just knew we had to be more physical to them and play harder and tackle well and wrap up. So.
Christian, what really opened up for you today compared to last week?
I think it was just the quick game. I think it was really open for us this week. Obviously, the quick game is a big part of our offense, and I just think me being able to move across the field, be in different positions, just helped me try to get the ball out to me a little bit more today.
James, how would you describe this game, just overall, generally?
I mean, that was a war out there, to be honest with you. I think it was a really physical game. When we knew that we're going in, that we were going to pack the box and they were going to run the football. I mean, this kid had thrown probably, I think, only 18 attempts in the last 2 games, and James Robinson had probably 80 carries. So there was no secret, like Jackson said, what was going to happen. And we knew that their defense was going to be good. And whatever happened on the other side of the ball, we felt confident on the defense that we were going to be able to hold them. I saw you kind of pacing the sideline a lot. You seemed to be really, really engaged when you guys were on. Is that kind of what was the message, I guess, on the sideline, especially in that second half when normally you guys do pull away and it wasn't happening? Yeah,
I mean, we just had to control our own on the defense. I think, we knew if we pitched a shutout, we were going to win. And, we didn't really – we obviously love when the offense scores points, but we can't dwell on anything that they're doing. We got to be a little bit separate in that form, and we got to play our own game. And we knew that if we did that, we would pitch a shutout, and we were lucky to do that.
Can you speak to the energy on the sideline in a situation like this where the tension's growing, time's running out, it's such a close game, and how maybe some of these older guys have set the tone for how you guys react in that situation?
Yeah, I mean, it takes everybody. I think there was a lot of energy, especially on the defensive side of the ball. We knew that we were going to have to strap up and play. I was really proud of how our defense played, how hard everybody played, and the energy we brought. This was a very fun game. Of course, we came out victorious, and that's what makes it fun. But at the end of the day, it was close and it was very hard fought, and we played really well down the stretch and we finished strong. So.
Jackson, when in the week did you guys put in that 5-man front, and does that keep you a little cleaner and going downhill?
Absolutely it does. We've kind of had those calls in all year, but we really we put them in some more base downs this week. 1st and 10. 2nd and 7, we had that in, and our D-line eats up those blockers, and second level is free to make plays. Yes, that's a good question. Yeah, it's a very good front, a front that I really enjoy playing because it does open things up for me and others on the second level to make plays. So.
Trey, to see your defense step up and play as tough as they did. They play tough every week, I'm not trying to say. But to have that game that they had today and to keep them out of the end zone, to watch that happening, how's that continue to kind of really light that fire to get out there for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, it makes us want to play better, really. They deserve it. They earned that, for us to, we kind of feel like almost to the point where we let them down a little bit, I mean, letting up 3 points. I mean, we got to score more than 9. That's just how it is. That's how our offense has been all year. I mean, we got to get in the end zone, so we're going to be better next week.
Like when they call that kick team out to kick a field goal. Well, what's that like when you're coming off the field?
Frustrating for field goals, especially some of the situations today. We had an early snap, things like that. Completions that I think I should have made, or plays that I think I should have made. So frustrated with myself. I know the guys up front are working their butts off, and they have been all year, and they're going to continue to dominate the line of scrimmage. But just got to be better at the end of the day. It's a little frustrating, kicking field goals. But shout out to Griff. I mean, made all his kicks today, and Ross. Everyone on that team, so they did a great job.
Trey, when they bring that much backside pressure, whether it's power or whatever, what are some adjustments that could be made that you guys weren't able to make today?
I mean, we checked to most of them. I mean, I think we were, doing, checks that we had planned, executing those. They squeezed everything down really tight, when they brought the safety or the corner off the edge. So front side and back side, they squeezed everything down, pinched everything down. So they ran a couple down from the back side, which, maybe we weren't expecting as much. But, they brought a lot of pressure. That was their plan, and they executed it well.
Like so often you guys are able to wear people down eventually, and they just didn't break ever. Was that frustrating to see, where you kind of keep waiting for something just to break open?
I think, yeah. At the same time, I think we shot ourselves in the foot a couple of times. Maybe me just not making the plays that I need to make on whether it's first down. Need to be more efficient. Me personally, on first down, getting into 2nd and 5 rather than being in 2nd and 10, 2nd and 9 every single snap. Every series, but at third downs, we're in a lot of 3rd and longs. I got to do a better job executing, when we are in those situations. 7 of 17, under 50% is not where we want to be. But just being in 3rd and long, I got to do a better job of keeping my team out of that situation.
James, the second year you guys did the semifinals. Do you think the outsider, the average person, understand how difficult it is to do something like that?
Yeah, I don't know. I think everybody in that locker room knows how much work gets put in to make it to this point. And, every season is its own season, and the fact that it's been 9 straight is pretty remarkable. But, this has been a process since last January, where we had 24, 25 seniors leaving, and we had a lot of young guys that were really talented, but inexperienced, and we've come a long way. And to make it back, it's pretty incredible, and we just got to keep going. Though we got another week here.
Last, they get the ball with like a minute and 30 left. Did your defense change at all, knowing they probably had to throw the ball?
Yeah, we knew that they had to throw the ball for probably the first times in the game, and so we made sure that we kept everything in front of us, and just pretty much in cover 2 and let them either try to throw it downfield and we'll make a play on it, or keep everything in front of us if they decide to scramble. So that was the game plan in that.
You held Illinois State to 6 points in 2 games with a guy like that running the ball. What does it say? How proud are your defense for doing that 2 games?
Yeah, that's just a team effort. They're a really good team, but to be honest with you, these are the kind of the games that we look forward to as a defense, because in spring ball and fall camp we face all these plays because our offense does it, and I think our offense does it better than anybody in the country. So that's just a credit to this program and all the work that gets put in the offseason. I mean, these are pictures that we've seen, and we face really good backs every single year in our own offense. So when we face this week, it's just kind of go time. This is kind of our base install, and we're ready to go.
Trey, you mentioned frustration. How do you battle through moments like that during the game?
Coach Entz talks a lot about poise, just not even just for me personally, but as a whole team, as an offensive unit, defensive unit, special teams. When things aren't going our way, battle some adversity, just stay calm. I don't think anyone ever lost any confidence in us. The last 2 weeks, not scoring as many points as we think we should have. But we're going to be tough critics of ourselves offensively. We expect ourselves to be better than that. But I don't think anyone, there was no panic or anything on the sideline. It's just, confident every single drive we're going to go out and put something together. It didn't work out. Things didn't go our way today, but, we're going to be better next week.
And for Christian, you had on a flat route, I thought you almost raced for a touchdown. What was racing through your head when you were open in the flat and you almost raced for a touchdown?
I mean, it's me being in the slot on that play. I mean, it's not something that I do all the time, but it's definitely something that I've been doing the past couple of weeks. And I looked at Trey. I seen that he was potentially gonna be open, and he looked at me, and I had a great block by Phoenix on that play, so I kind of took it inside, and I thought I was gonna be able to get past him, but he ended up clipping my feet, but it still got us the first down, it still got us a chunky yard, so it was a good play.
Christian, as things aren't going the way that you probably planned them to go late in the game, what is the conversation like coming from 5? What's the conversation amongst your receiving group? What did that go like?
I mean, it's always the same things we talk about. We talk about what we can do to be better. It's never me like coming at Trey or Trey coming at me. Obviously, I had the drop ball. Trey just looked at me and he's like, "Come on, next play." Obviously, you have 10 other guys that are relying on you every play. So, when I look at Trey and I'm talking on the sideline with Trey, it's always just, what can we do to, continue to have success later throughout the game.
James, your next opponent, Montana State. Anything you know about them right now?
No, not really. I was too focused on Illinois State. I know that there were some games on last night, and watched a little bit of it, but you know, we played them last year, and they're going to be familiar with the Fargo Dome. I think any team coming in their second time in the Fargo Dome, they're a better football team than the first time. So we just got to be ready. It's a semifinal game. They're one of the best four. We're one of the best four. It's going to be a really good game.
Thanks, guys.